Hey everyone, this is meteorologist Jessica Blum here for an update to a severe risk that we have for Tuesday, April 1st. Not an April Fool's joke, as many have chuckled with me already, but this is the risk for severe weather for Tuesday night. And what you may notice if you are not from Nebraska and you are watching this video, I am mainly talking about Nebraska as I'm forecasting and doing these videos because I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska. My job is to forecast for those in Nebraska. So I may at times give you the wider view of severe risks or weather-wise, but most of the time I'm trying to give a clear picture for us in Nebraska so we can prepare for this and anyone can ask questions in regard to Nebraska, and I'll know most about that and really what we're looking at. But here you see a slight level 2 out of 5 risk that extends back through south central Nebraska toward Lexington, Arapahoe, and then includes all of eastern Nebraska, from Sioux City all the way down the Missouri River. And in fact, as I zoom out, this is a large slight risk that extends east toward northern Illinois, not quite Chicago, but through Missouri, Oklahoma, almost Dallas, northern portions of Texas, good portion of Kansas, and then back up here to Nebraska. So we're mainly going to be talking about Nebraska, as usual. But that's your wider view. And for us, this is a setup that would happen Tuesday late afternoon to the evening hours, potentially later Tuesday night. So the tornado risk rather low across the state of Nebraska. You do start to get a 2% risk, which sounds small, but maybe looking at a small spin up toward Fall City. This is kind of the beginning of the tornado risk. I generally think the ingredients for tornado still look to come together south of Nebraska altogether, toward Kansas and Oklahoma. So I don't think tornadoes really be a big issue with this. But large hail, the main concern with this, I think, is large hail. When you start to see these black hash marks from the Storm Prediction Center, that means there is potential for 2-inch hail, or up to 2-inch hail. I think we're largely looking at what could be 1.5 inch to 2-inch hail with some of the strongest storms. And that would be an ping pong size hail, if not a little bit bigger. So that's what that risk is showing you across southeast Nebraska, Lincoln, Omaha, Beatrice, much of the Tri-Cities, from out Kearney east, all including that, toward Columbus. Damaging wind also there. I think up to 60-mile-per-hour winds aren't out of the question. So we're going to take a look at a couple different models. These are short-term models giving you a picture of what could happen by Tuesday night. And these are some of the most recent versions of these short-term models too that you're seeing. So we're getting some of the best ideas of what could kind of take place. What I'm going to show you is first Tuesday morning. I think we could see a little light rain across eastern Nebraska and more notably toward northeast Nebraska, probably early before even the morning commute gets going. And then you see some scattered thunderstorms develop from this model after about 5-6 o'clock and in central Nebraska, between Grand Island and O'Neill and pushing to the north and east. Initially, there could be some hail with these, some gusty winds, but I think the main severe threat that I think a lot of us are going to be watching for is going to be in southeast Nebraska here in a second. But look at these still cells out by themselves. Excuse that. Okay, there we go. Storm here, storm here. The nature of these could be hail, could be some gusty winds. And then you'll notice still some discrete kind of cells by themselves up here. I think we'll have to watch those. And then this is what gets going past about 8-9 o'clock from this version of Stormcast. This would put timing into Lincoln beyond about 9 o'clock, I think by a 10 to midnight window. But you notice these are already clustering together. Not so much a hail threat, but still could be a hail threat, but maybe a little bit more of a wind threat. Maybe an embedded spin up, but a low likelihood of that happening. And then you even see segments of this line bowing out a little bit, meaning some wind could be potentially the hazard as this kind of continues on through the night, pushing out of here by about 2 in the morning. So that's the first version of Stormcast from this morning. Again, I'm doing this just after about 10 a.m. Monday morning, so we've got a little time to kind of continue to watch how models show this. This is another version of Stormcast, and I have it a little zoomed out, and I'll show you why here in a second, but there's the little bit of rain that could be happening early Tuesday morning across eastern Nebraska. It won't be much. Before then you see most of the day's quiet. It will be windy most of the day, especially in the afternoon. I'll show you that here in a second. Just kind of background winds, not even associated with a thunderstorm. I'll show you that here in a second. But then this model, which is the model I would tend to look for better timing, shows storms firing up as soon as about 4 or 5 o'clock. And these kind of push out from that same area of central Nebraska up to the north and east, between about Grand Island and O'Neill to the north and east. Initially hail, could be some gusty winds, those continue to move, and then you see, a few lines develop, which are kind of interesting, with some darker reds and pinks. That could be some hail, some heavy wind, really into Kansas, but that would already bring some near Lincoln by about 7, 8, 9 o'clock, so a little bit sooner than what that previous model was showing. And still the worst of it down toward almost Beatrice, Pawnee County, into northeast Kansas, as for some of the worst of the hail. So that would be good for Lincoln and even Omaha, keeping the worst of the hail maybe to our south. And then this continues to bow out. You see this all comes together in a line that bows out and goes through Kansas City. So that would turn into more of a wind threat. There could be some hail in there, could be some embedded spin-ups. But that clears the state by 1 in the morning, so that's a little bit sooner, a little quick, a little faster with the nature of these storms with that version of Stormcast. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're thinking about roughly with the timing and some of the threats. But largely what we have right now in place is a slight level 2 out of 5 risk, mainly driven by the hail concern. Maybe there could be some winds up to 60 miles an hour. I think the threat of tornadoes really low. The flooding threat isn't really an issue with this, but the overall timing about 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. from Tuesday night into early Wednesday. So that's what we're looking at with that. And then I told you I'd show you kind of the background winds with all of this. So this is starting mid-morning. We're mixing some stronger winds down to the surface, and namely by Tuesday afternoon, we're looking at some gusty winds in south central and eastern Nebraska up around 40 to 45 miles an hour out of the south and east. So windy day on Tuesday, not even factoring in what wind could come from thunderstorms later on. And then look at these winds by Wednesday afternoon. Once the system's clearing out, we're on the backside, and we're seeing westerly winds around 30 to maybe 35 miles per hour over much of the state, maybe up to 40 miles per hour in some locations occasionally by the afternoon. So keep that in mind. Windy couple of days. I think we'll get up to, or try for the lower 60s over the next couple of days, before we've got more chances for rain by the end of this week into this weekend. So April, starting out with some more showers, hopefully going to bring some May flowers, but there is that severe potential for Tuesday night. Stay tuned. If I've got more of an update for tomorrow morning, I will. And if there's anything for me to kind of pick up on for my shift late Tuesday night into early Wednesday, I may try to go live too. But of course, like and subscribe, and you'll get kind of notifications on when I do new videos and when we can get more information on this, and we'll do our best to keep you up to date.